Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, dozens are killed in a series of raids on communities in Zamfara State in Nigeria's northwest. The region's seen a worrying spike in attacks from gunmen recently. We hear more from our correspondent in the country. Also, France defends the military takeover in Chad that happened in the wake of the late president's battlefield death. But the country's opposition says that current arrangements are dangerously fragile. And Ivorians are doing more of their shopping online. By 2025, e-commerce is projected to account for 10% of all sales. But the amount in taxes collected is not likely to see a similar jump as many businesses continue to operate in the black market. But first, in Nigeria, people living in Zamfara say that at least 50 people have been killed in raids on villages this week. Gunmen began targeting remote communities in the northwestern state on Wednesday. The area has seen a spike in attacks by criminal gangs over the last few months. Sam Olukoya brings us more.
The attacks were carried out on several villages in Zamfara State. Some of the villages attacked are close to Gusau, the capital of the state. The attacks were carried out by a large number of men who rode on motorcycles and carried assault rifles. They inflicted a lot of havoc on local communities. Houses and other valuable properties were burnt. Some reports say as many as 80 people were killed in the attacks. Some of those killed are members of local vigilantes. No group has claimed responsibility for the attacks, but lots of well-armed groups are known to operate in the area. These groups are known as bandits. They are involved in robbery and kidnapping people for ransom. Their number has grown over the years, and they've become better armed and better organized. They operate in large parts of northwest Nigeria. Security operatives have been unable to stop them. The situation there reflects the growing incident of insecurity in Nigeria. Across Nigeria, armed groups are kidnapping people and sometimes killing them for the fun of it. The incident in Zamfara State comes barely 24 hours after armed men broke into a private university in Kaduna State and abducted a number of students. President Muhammadu Buhari has been under pressure to curb the growing state of insecurity in Nigeria.
Sam Olukoya there for us. Now, foreign leaders have started to arrive in Chad ahead of the funeral of the late President Idris Deby. That's due to happen on Friday. The leaders of Guinea and Mali were amongst those to head to the country, despite threats from rebels that they should not attend. A military council led by Deby's son, Mohamed Idris Deby, has taken over. France's ambassador quickly met with the new leader to express Paris's support in the wake of his father's death on the front lines of fighting with insurgents. Now, Chad is key to counter jihadist operations in the Sahel. Although some have dubbed the military takeover a coup, France has defended it, saying that it's necessary amidst exceptional circumstances. Chad's army said that democratic elections will be held in a year and a half, but the country's opposition believes that current arrangements are dangerously fragile.
We believe that today, in these troubling times for Chad, in which we find ourselves in a quasi-political and institutional crisis, there is a kind of military-political security dilemma. When it is like this, we need to ensure that we do not lose control. The soldiers who are in place can play a role, but we believe that by the side of the Transitional Military Council, there should be a transitional college, and that the Military Council must very quickly start national consultations in order to get people's views. This national consultation should prioritise the creation of this transitional college, which will be made up of political parties and of civil society organisations.
Look, now it's a news in brief. Nigeria has said that it's reinforced its border security to avoid a possible jump in the number of Chadians trying to cross over. There are regional concerns about how the disruption might spill over in the wake of the death of Chadian leader Idris Deby. Nigeria's defense minister said that only Nigerians will be allowed to enter from the neighboring country for now. The UK has offered an apology for the hundreds of thousands of African and other ethnic minority soldiers who died fighting for the British Empire in World War II, but were not properly commemorated by the British Empire because of racism. The Commonwealth War Graves Commission has found that non-white soldiers were not treated equally in death. Some were denied individual graves or had their names only recorded in registers rather than on memorials. Many were never commemorated at all. About 135,000 African soldiers came to Europe to fight or help with the war effort. The Ethiopian Human Rights Commission said that an armed group has taken control of a county in the country's northwest. Civilians have reportedly been killed and public sector workers kidnapped in Sidal Woreda in the Kamashi zone of Benishangul Gumuz. Now, it's seen a recent explosion in ethnic violence, including an attack in December in which more than 200 civilians were killed. The legal team of former South African President Jacob Zuma has quit less than a month before he's due to go on trial on corruption charges. Zuma is going to court to face 16 charges related to a $2 billion arms deal that dates back to the 90s when he was vice president. The firm that has withdrawn has not given a reason for its exit. Now, Ivorians are doing more and more of their shopping online. By 2025, e-commerce is expected to account for 10% of all sales in the country. But with much of the business happening informally, the government is struggling to collect taxes. Thais Brook and Sam Bradpeace tell us more.
These three entrepreneurs began distance working long before the pandemic. They are constantly on their phones. 3 years ago, they started selling men's clothing on Facebook and Instagram before setting up their own website.
Au départ, c'était pour peut-être avoir quelque chose en attendant un travail à la fonction publique ou autre chose. Mais après, quand nous avons vu que l'impact que ça pouvait avoir, nous sommes lancés sans hésiter.
Marketing their goods through social media allowed them to reach a large clientele and make considerable savings.
On paye moins les charges qu'une boutique normale pourrait payer. Nous, on se base seulement à domicile.
Because they operate informally, they pay no tax. But online merchants still need to have their goods delivered, so governments changed the rules for all delivery drivers. They now have to pay for a license that costs 5 million CFA francs or 7,600 euros per year.
C'est un peu abusé, parce que la majorité de ceux qui font les livraisons, ce sont les étudiants. Moi, comme ça, je suis étudiant en droit. Voilà, j'ai fini ma licence, je me suis arrêté là pour le moment. Et je me débrouille en faisant mes livraisons. Donc imaginez, vous demandez à un étudiant de payer les 5 millions. Si moi j'ai les 5 millions, je vais investir dans un projet.
The new rules have failed to take off as few drivers have paid up. The vast majority continue to operate illegally.
Now, there's been cautious optimism since the beginning of Ramadan in Libya. After months of economic turmoil, the market is bustling once again as the coronavirus vaccination drive is now underway. Shirley Sitburn tells us more.
How about hot bread and some even hotter chili sauce? Time has come to break the fast, and these are some of the most popular food items in Benghazi's Ramadan market. The area seems to have been thrown back in time to before the pandemic. No face masks, no social distancing. People seem to think that the launch of the vaccination campaign could have already slowed down the pandemic. But daily COVID-19 infections are higher than in previous months. Men seem thrilled to meet up. Women are nowhere in sight.
وتحق الناس اللي لك فترة ما حقيتها تلاقي أنت وياه أنا عرفته وفي اللي تعرف عليه جديد حتى هو لك عرفته.
Here everyone is hopeful business will pick up after a year of COVID and a decade of war and divisions between eastern and western Libya. Traces of the fighting are obvious on buildings all around. But now, Libya has a unity government.
الحكومة نتمنى منها معاونة الشعب ومعاونة الراقد الريح. أهم شيء عندك الراقد الريح. الراقد الريح هو ما عنده بيش ياكل، ما عنده بيش يصرف عليه عويلته، ما عنده بيش. هذا ما نتمنى من حكومة جديدة يعني.
Until the new government sets up food aid programs, it's residents who are helping out each other. Boy Scouts distribute hundreds of meals every day in the spirit of the Ramadan.
Well, that's it for Eye on Africa for now. Thanks for joining us, and do so again if you can. Take care.